Welcome one and all to the Xbox Wrap Up, our community episode discussing the month of June 2024. I'm here now with XEP patrons. My name is Luke Lore, the Insipid Ghost, and I am joined by some of the best and brightest in our gaming community. We will start, of course, with Mr. Clint Coombs. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. I love these community episodes. I genuinely look forward to them.
Same. I know I missed the last one, so I was looking forward to this one for sure because they're definitely the highlight.
Easily. And we talked about you quite a bit on that last episode.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Rick didn't tell me any of this or Silkenet.
It was nothing good. That's why.
It was slanderous. It was
right.
slanderous.
Let's see how it is.
We do what we do. We do what we do.
I won't accept any other way.
I'm joined by your co-host, Mr. Rick Davis, aka Butch4969. How are you, sir?
I'm impressed. You got it right. I am doing well. Luke, how are you? I got it right too.
I'm good. I'm good. So anybody that is unaware or if you're new, I routinely call Rick by the wrong name. I mess it up all the time. And
he even makes up names sometimes.
It's crazy. And I got to tell you, the funniest time, and it's usually Clint. I'll call you Clint usually, just because I associate you guys like mentally because we met at the same time. But I swear to you, this happened. When I did the Cliffy B interview, I got it all right. And at the very, like, we went off air, off live. And I was like, all right, Clint, that was awesome, man. And he goes, Clint? I was like,
no.
Oh, no. I was like, what had happened? I had read your like something you had said or something in Discord, Clint, and I just like went out there and he goes, all right, Fluke. And I was like,
Like he won that one.
Yeah, he won. He won.
Nice.
We are joined by community episode regular, Mr. Silkenet, aka the French one. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, but also very tired. I played a lot.
You got a lot to talk about, I'm sure.
It's more, I played one game a lot.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm looking forward to hearing that one then. And then, of course, making his debut, not only on XEP, but also on the XEP community episodes, David Burdett. He is the lead editor at gamingtrend.com. I met him in LA. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. I'm a little bit tired. Played Call of Duty a little late last night. I was getting out frustrations because my favorite Call of Duty esports team lost at the major tournament. It should have been theirs, but here's hoping Champs is in a couple weeks. Maybe FaZe can pull it off.
So you're a FaZe clan guy?
Big FaZe. My glasses literally have Atlanta FaZe on them. So
okay. Cool.
Actually covered Call of Duty esports for Gaming Trend throughout the entirety of the Vanguard season. Then I just couldn't keep it up because I'm one person.
Yeah. Esports is one of the things that, like, when I get in, but it's such a fast, like coverage base. Like, there's so much happening. It happens so quickly. I feel like.
Well, with this, just the format has been good, but I think with like Call of Duty, it's a lot better because I like it because I play it. Like, that's the difference with Call of Duty is I'm almost watching like, okay, how can I work this in as I'm playing the multiplayer? Like, how can I use these spots to my advantage? So that's kind of how it started, and then it became okay, now I'm kind of invested in the teams, and it just got fun watching the storylines, learning who the players were, the rivalries, all that kind of stuff.
I think it's one of those things like I don't know if anybody else has done this, but like you see it for Halo Infinite, they had like the esports skins. And I was like, ooh, that space station skin looks good, or the such and such skin looks good. And then I start down a rabbit hole and I learn all about it.
FaZe actually world champions in Halo.
I was about to say, SSP has a sick Rocket League skin.
Do they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
So go ahead, David. No,
I was just gonna say FaZe actually, like last year so the way it works in Halo is you play like in the winners bracket was like you would play 7 matches, and then if the person who came from losers bracket won the best of 4, then they would play another best of 4. It's just the crazy thing with like Halo. And so Optic started out, they were the reigning champions at that point last year. They won the first 2 maps versus FaZe. Then FaZe went and won 8 straight maps to take the championship from losers bracket. So it was just insane of a run. Like it's the coolest thing is now they're commentating these things like an actual like NFL game and stuff like that. So you're not just watching gameplay and having to enjoy it that way. You're actually getting the enjoyment of listening to these casters getting you hyped as everything's going on.
I really enjoy Street Fighter 6, and they've got this whole like broadcast mentality that I really get into. Rick, is Rocket League like that?
A little bit. It's not quite like it's not quite the same way with how they do their announcement. They do more of a they refer to it as like a conversational style because Rocket League, things happen, things change on a split-second basis with who touches the ball, where it's going, whether they 50 it or whatever. And then they'll specifically comment on kind of how the play is going, who is or isn't struggling. If someone does one of the top skill level moves in the game is a flip reset. They'll comment when people do that, although it's at the point now flip resets are pretty routine in the pro scene, but it's something like 1% of the player base can do.
Gotcha. That's cool. Well, dude, I'm stoked that all of us are here today. I see people in the chat, Bacon, Nisa. It's good to see you guys. I hope you're doing well. We tend to make these shows very much about like what we've been playing, what's been on our minds game-wise. I know I want to talk a lot about some of the Game Pass goodness that I've gotten the last month, and then what I'm looking forward to in the month of July as well. In chat, Nisa Hauer saying that Dreamlight Valley has very much been on her radar, playing a lot of that. And then also the Power World update is live. I am not a Dreamlight Valley player, but I see it show up in our Discord quite a bit. Have any of you guys played Dreamlight Valley?
I haven't, but I have definitely heard a lot about it for sure. But it's just not for me, I don't think. But to be fair, I haven't really looked at it honestly either.
Yeah,
I played it a bit when it was on Game Pass. When it came out it was on Game Preview. I liked it enough, but yeah, I fell off it. Then all the expansions came out, and I'm too far gone.
I'm just curious what kind of state it's in, because when it first arrived on Xbox, it was early access, right? Is it still?
It was Game Preview.
I think
it's out
of it now. Yeah, they officially like did a specific update recently. I think it was actually end of last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha.
My wife got really into it, and like she'll still pop it up on her computer and play it sometimes if the mood strikes her. And she'll sit there for hours, but it's like that Animal Crossing kind of style.
Gotcha.
Just easy to relax with if you're willing to like deal with the big thing is it does follow the mobile game rules of like time gates, artificial time gates, stuff like that. Of you got to wait for something to happen with this, or have to dig on this. You can only progress so far in a day. All that kind of fun stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's a good podcast game.
Yeah,
you can have a podcast on the side listening.
I've actually, dude, I am such a sucker for a good podcast game where I don't have to engage audio wise with the game, and I can just play and I can just listen. I will do that, and I go down some like YouTube rabbit holes where it's the equivalent of like watching, I don't know, reality TV, where I just let it go and play. But I love a good podcast game, so that's good to hear.
Can you guys tell me like what it is to play a game for enjoyment? I know this is a funny kind of a thing, but yesterday I booted up my Switch when I was out and about and started playing Paper Mario and just was playing it and stuff. I'm like, I'm having to sit here and play this and not think critically about it. Like it was almost an odd feeling, because almost everything I touch is for review. Like even Call of Duty, I play that with friends. I'm very strategic in the way that I play it and stuff. So even there's a form. I'm not writing about it maybe, but there's a form of critically playing it. Whereas like I play Paper, I'm like, this is just fun. Wait, what am I doing? I'm having to think about it.
It's got to be hard trying to like be in your position and playing and trying to enjoy a game and not specifically say try to find faults, but you're looking for them and stuff, and not, like you said, always having that in the back of your mind. It's got to be hard.
David,
yeah, I just came off of the break. I think I said it in one of our things or in the chat last episode about how just I finally got rid of the pile. Like I've pretty much been playing video games since October of last year straight. Like it really feels like I've been working on something and tried to get a break before SGF and then had like 5. Like I actually right before Summer Game Fest, I had a half a week break. And before that, in 2.5 weeks, I wrote 9 reviews. And
that's the danger of taking something you enjoy and covering it for work, you know?
Yep. Well, and then I went to SGF, covered all the crap there, got home, still had some stuff to cover, but then had like 4 or 5 things show up either right before or when I got home. So like I finally 2 weeks after SGF, I'm finally like, okay, I can actually sit down, I can breathe. Intentionally made sure I didn't pick up anything off of our project board and was like, it really is that, man, what do I do with all this free time?
Mm-hmm.
It's a funny thing because as content creators, sometimes we forget about it. We get in that grind and it's like, okay, I got to play this because I got to have something to talk about. And it just, we got to remember to take a break. That's something as a video gamer, you got to be able to take a break at times.
I think that's the danger of gaming, regardless of whether you're a content creator, whether it's your job, or whether you're just trying to keep up with the zeitgeist, right? Like I know plenty of people that are not working it, but they are done with Shadow of the Erdtree because they were terrified of spoilers, terrified of having some sort of the experience taken away. And I feel like that has to back off a bit so we can enjoy more of the games. Logan and I have a policy with XEP. Last year in 2023, it was find the fun. This year, it's 2024. It's games aren't work. Like health over anything, and like try to enjoy. You navigate it from like that's your job kind of way. Content creators, there's this weird nebulous in between, but like sometimes even just as a gamer to play is for fun, you want to keep up with everything, and that's just not feasible. It's just not feasible. When I see all these charts on socials, this many Xbox exclusive, PlayStation exclusives, this many games coming to Game Pass or PSN or whatever it is, and it's like, yo, I don't even have time to enjoy those games. I want to play Path of the Goddess and relax my way through it and not rush for coverage. And that's a big danger I think a lot of people fall prey to, I guess you would say.
Just FOMO in general. Like just the fear of missing out, that sometimes you pick up a game and you're like, well, I'm gonna pick this game up and play it just because everybody else is. No, fam, just like, so I watched something a while back. They were talking about the backlog, and the guy was pretty much, he was like, this is what I played all of last year, and he pretty much got down to, when I made it a list, I made it where I wasn't gonna have fun with it, so I needed to just play stuff and have fun with it. He's like, I finally realized this after trying to chart cover it, playing my backlog for a year of, I don't have, just because it's there doesn't mean I have to play it. Like I need to enjoy myself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the FOMO aspect is it hits me pretty particularly right now. I spent 70 hours trying to force myself to like Elden Ring. I finally got there.
You like it now?
You got there? I do. It took a long time, but I finally got there. I've been posted on Twitter at who was it, Alex and Ains, and I'm just like, you guys had me feeling so much FOMO that I'm like, I feel like I have to play this game to figure out what I'm missing, and I couldn't figure it out. And then finally, just I don't know what, maybe last week, Clint, and finally I was like, all right, I'm actually starting to enjoy this finally.
Yeah, I know it'd been a bit for you.
So it took you 70 hours to like it?
No, but
that's a weird. It wasn't meant to be a leading question. I realized as soon as I said it, like that sounds terrible. That's not what I mean.
My time clock now is, I think when I saw it at 85. I mean, that's obviously counting time just sitting at the menu and stuff like that. But so I would say 65 to 70 of game, but it probably took me. Like, I'm not gonna say I completely hated it. I was just like, man, this is just not doing it for me. But I was like, I got to see what I'm missing. I do like Souls games, just for the record. So that's what's weird about it, because I do like Souls games. And the one that people that don't like Souls games even got into, it was not doing it for me. And I'm like, what am I missing here?
And so it was more finding where it clicked. That's more what it was. It was more finding where it clicked with you.
I don't even know if that's it, because it just kind of did. Like I don't know what did and didn't make it click, but it finally just kind of did.
But you are enjoying it. You're talking about base game Elden Ring.
Yeah, I'm not. I've beaten Star Scourge Radon, but I have not beaten Moog yet, so I cannot get to the whatever it's called,
Shadow of
Realm
the
or
Arc
whatever.
Tree. Yep, Shadow Realm.
Yeah. I think I had 180 hours in that game. 180. I hear Twyla in the background.
I was hoping that wouldn't come through.
She's a
Guest
cutie.
appearance.
But I have
here.
180 hours in Elden Ring, and for me, Elden Ring is the exception, not the rule, because I don't like Souls-like games. But I enjoyed the first Lords of the Fallen way back when. I enjoyed Star Wars games as like a lead-in, kind of an ease your way in. Darksiders 3 had a little bit of that in it, but it doesn't do it for me. Souls-likes aren't fun for me. But Elden Ring, something about it spoke to me, probably Ainsley Bowden, poking the bear. And then from there, I loved Elden Ring, but I haven't yet wanted to go back. I just started the new Lords of the Fallen, and I'm like that. But what's up, Addy Dotun?
Yeah, I do like Lords of the Fallen. Me and Clint were kind of on that train from launch. It was kind of a mess at launch, but it's in a pretty good state now. Actually, they added a remarkable amount of stuff to that. So, I've really liked that one for quite some time.
Even the thingy on like the Xbox store, like when it's on my dashboard and stuff, it says version 1.5 prominently, like bigger text than it says Lords of the Fallen, to try and showcase that they've fixed stuff. So I'm happy with it.
The fixes actually have been there for probably 4 or 5 months. The most recent update they added. I think the most recent update is when they added the like randomized mode, and they added like boss rushes. Like you basically could refight bosses that you already beat. But like the performance has really been ironed out since, I don't know, February or March maybe. It's actually run pretty well for quite some time.
Yeah, they've done a really good job with post content with that, and also like I like how they do like almost like quests in it. So if you want like a helm or something, you have to do certain things and such that they added into it just to get people to come back and stuff.
Sorry, I'm giving Addy Dotun gave me a hard time on Twitter today because I need to start including GMT in my tweets about like when the podcast is, because I forget that like, you know, there are all these time zones that we cover, and I had to Google what GMT was when he first sent it, and I'm like, oh, Greenwich time, got it. But yeah, I got you, Addy Dotun. I'll work on it. I'll do better. But Lords of the Fallen, I'm liking it, but I did hit a skill wall early on. Bumped into it, took a break, stopped because there was no FOMO, because there was no like punching myself to not enjoy a game. And when I went back, when I had the patience for a Souls, like I beat the boss that I was struggling with. It was a mini boss too. Like I'm not even trying to brag. Like I beat this one little thing that I couldn't get past. And then I'm at a spot where I can kind of grind a little bit to help myself. And I appreciate that in Souls likes, where you can strengthen yourself just by kind of grinding if you need to help with skill ceilings.
Here's a fun fact for you, Luke.
Okay.
You probably made it more difficult on yourself by waiting this long to play it. Because when it launched, one of the main criticisms from Souls fans was the game itself was quite difficult, but the bosses were really easy in comparison. And they actually, in an update in maybe about February, they went in and buffed like almost all of the bosses to make them much more difficult than what they originally were. So if you'd have played it at launch, you'd have probably had a better time with
that. At launch, the bosses were a joke.
Yeah, they really were.
But you basically had to run through the levels to not die, because if you engage too much,
the actual world was impossible.
Yeah,
the bosses were really easy in comparison to like Elden Ring or Dark Souls or whatever.
Well, that's not fair.
You missed the golden days.
I do.
The first boss was kind of tough. I don't know if you beat her or not, just because it kind of throws you into it. But after her, they really got pretty easy in comparison to all the other Souls games.
I think I'm 2 or 3 bosses in. I'm 2 or 3 bosses.
I'm talking about the one that's like, she's like an angel. Pietra or something like that's her name.
Pietra, yeah.
Yeah, I beat her.
She was pretty tough, but
I used
were pretty easy
after
that.
You could call an NPC in for help on that one, which I did.
On all of them, on all the bosses,
almost all of them you can, yeah.
Well, I couldn't call one in on that mini boss that had me stuck and angry.
Because it's a mini boss.
Because it's a mini boss.
Not mini bosses. The main bosses you can.
Well, I'm gonna file a complaint. But I dig it because, and I want to give a shout out, and I'm going to shout out Game Pass quite a bit, I'm sure. But thanks to Game Pass, I got to take my time, wait, and then just go in. and that barrier that stopped me from enjoying it, I didn't feel a loss or anger at Lords of the Fallen because I knew it was in Game Pass. I didn't like break $70 on it and I could go back to it. And there were other things in Game Pass that I was playing. And so that was kind of a neat just feeling that's very different. You know, when you used to buy a game, or even now when you buy a game and you can't beat it, don't like it, or you're stuck or you're frustrated, you feel like at a loss. I didn't feel at a loss, and that let me take my time with it and then go back to it. Have you guys had an experience like that kind of in subscription era at all?
Not really.
Not really.
Mostly because I do a lot of legwork to research something before it comes out. So I usually have a pretty good idea if I'll like it or not. And then since I get typically physical copies when available, with as much as I buy, a lot of times I can make arrangements to but it doesn't happen often. But like, so if I just straight up hate something, I can be like, hey, like I'm friends with the guys at the local GameStop. So I'm just like, hey, can you cut me a break here? And more often than not, they will, because it's not like I do it every week.
Right.
Yeah. So
I saw that Black Myth Wukong is more God of War than it is Souls-like, and that uplifted me a bit as well because I get scared of the Souls-like genre.
Yeah, but both that and Phantom Blade Zero look like they're much more like old Ninja Gaiden. Not old.
Everything that came out about Phantom Blade seemed like it was much more just hard, but not like Soulsy.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
Yeah, actually, they said Phantom Blade specifically is not a Souls-like. They've made sure to emphasize that it doesn't have the like resting and then enemies respawn mechanic or anything like that, which is
that immediately sold me on playing it. Like, not only did the trailer look good, but just them dropping hey, this isn't a Souls-like was like, oh yeah, I get a little bit of Souls anxiety when I play games because I don't like losing my crap.
Yeah,
so
that's why
I had reinstalled Elden Ring and I got all the way to get Torrent, and then the anxiety started kicking in. I was like, nope, I'm going to play Final Fantasy 16.
That's very early for the anxiety to kick in.
It is not. Yeah, it's not even far. That's early. Like, what's funny
it's
is
like
the
two
only
grace.
one
You sit at two grace sides, and you have to.
The only one that's really, I guess, stuck with me was Bloodborne, and that was just because it benefits you to play more aggressively, and I think that helps because I've just got a bit of an aggressive play style when I play video games, and which is hilarious because I love the Splinter Cell games and have always played those really slow. I must have just in my later age have been like, I don't have time to play these video games slow anymore. I've got to play fast.
It's funny you mentioned oh my god, I literally just blanked on the game you just said. The Splinter Cell. God, Splinter Cell. So I have
one of my favorite games.
Those are great games. I love like the stealth, slow. Yes, bring it back, right? But I am tangentially, I relate Splinter Cell and games of that ilk to the sniper games because they require slow paced, silent, stealthy approaches. And I just
strategic movement.
Yeah, very much strategic.
You talking about Sniper Ghost Warrior, or are you talking about Sniper Elite?
In this case, Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2, I've been playing. And
no, that one's not bad. That was not bad.
I liked Ghost Warrior Contracts 1 as well.
No, the ones before that were not very, very good, but the Contracts ones were pretty good.
Contracts, yes. Yeah. Ghost Warrior Contracts are there, and Sniper Elite games I really enjoy as well. Shout out to Rebellion. And I've been playing Lords of the Fallen and Ghost Warrior Contracts as my palate cleansing, just chilling, relaxed, playing the games, and it's just been so much fun to just slow down and enjoy them as opposed to play for coverage or try to keep up with the zeitgeist, the FOMO and stuff, because like no one's playing either one of those games right now. So the stakes are so low for me. I'm not comparing achievement lists or timing or anything. And that's been really nice. And so to Dave's like Splinter Cell comment, if you like that stuff, check out the sniper games, Ghost Warrior Contracts 1 and 2, and then the Elite games. They're both great. And kill cams are fun.
And a reminder that all the Splinter Cell games, I believe, are backwards compatible on Xbox, so you should definitely buy them.
Absolutely. Gosh, maybe show Ubisoft we care.
I'm surprised that
they're doing the remake,
a new one.
Yeah, they're doing the remake of the first one. Yeah, I think it's Montreal that's doing it.
Are they? We haven't heard
about
it in 4 years.
It was announced, and then nothing ever has been said again. So every year I go and hope that it will be brought back. But
Michael
if
Ironside
they're going to bring it
was
back,
Michael
we better
Ironside.
have Michael Ironside doing the voice.
Right.
Just saying, because Michael Ironside is Sam Fisher.
He said
remember
that
being-
in the 2017, like Inside Xbox. I remember him saying that or something. It was 2019. He's old, guys.
He
Yeah,
is,
he's,
but we only need his
87, I
voice.
think.
We only need his voice.
That said, it was hard to blame them when it came out why he did not voice him in Blacklist,
Because of the cancer, right?
because he had cancer. Yeah, and he had not
Mhm.
announced it, so nobody knew it.
Yeah.
They actually kept it under quiet for him, and he had
Which is-
throat cancer, I think, so he wasn't even able to do any kind of voice acting.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that when he does pass, they do something Splinter Cell wise to honor him. This sounds silly because I know Val Kilmer's still with us, but like when I saw Val Kilmer in Top Gun Maverick, there was a way to honor the character and still allow him to be there despite his condition. I liked that. So I hope they do
Yeah.
something to honor Sam
Top Gun
Fisher.
Maverick. Geez, what a perfect sequel to somehow come out 36
Seriously.
years.
So
I mean,
good.
I can't think of anything I don't like about that movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Just
The fact that
perfect.
that whole Val Kilmer scene, I mean, the whole movie is fantastic, but that Val Kilmer scene was like, I was just in the seat, just like my heart.
Side note, he loves the fact that he played Batman, which
Yeah.
I love the fact that he loves the fact that he played Batman, because Batman Forever is the strange, somehow good movie, and yet, right? But just Val Kilmer in general, it was like, oh, cool. And he was such a fun part of the first movie. And I watched Maverick on the plane to LA. Just, because I wanted some planes going down while I was flying. But it's just such a good such a good sequel. Such
I've
a good
actually never
sequel.
seen it.
You should, man.
I think I bought it. I just haven't watched it yet.
Well worth your time. It
Yeah.
feels good. That's a feel good movie somehow.
Because it has fighter jets. That's all it takes to feel good.
It's kind of funny we brought this up because in another Discord, I actually posted the intro to the original Top Gun just randomly in there because I was listening because I just love that intro to the first Top Gun. And I was just like, put it in there, and I was like, this still slaps like decades later.
We in the metal band that I was in, we used to play that like da, 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 da. That was how we introed our shows for a while before we made our own intro.
So cool.
This is in spoiler territory. I don't know if anybody's like not watched the movie here. Was anybody else convinced Tom was gonna bite the bullet
Yes.
at the end? Like, just saying,
I didn't think so, but
I was like, they're gonna do it, and then somehow, like you said, it's a feel good movie in the sense of how did everything end up like going Millhouse? Like,
Yeah.
everything was coming up Millhouse in that movie.
It feels good. Like watching that movie, it's just a happy movie somehow. And I love the fact that like they use some video game logic the whole way. They're like, the enemy is here. 5th gen fighters. They never once cite who the enemy is.
right.
They never tell you what kind of planes they're flying against, and they just kind of roll with it. And it's like
Dunkirk did that as well. Even though obviously you know who they were fighting, they only refer to them as the enemies the whole time. They never say Nazis or
Very
Germans or anything like that.
I've never watched it.
There was some sort of
Dunkirk's great.
critical like piece on Top Gun Maverick, but they're like, this movie should not work because in a movie you usually have to have that juxtaposition of the hero and the villain, and there's never an established villain, and they just do such a good job establishing the hero, and that is why that movie is so good, because it really doesn't make sense, because you really should have a villain that you have to hate, and there's not one in that movie.
Yep.
Nope.
Well, the first one's kind of the same way. I mean, Iceman was the closest thing to a villain in the first one
Yeah.
until the like 3-minute combat sequence at the end. But
Yeah. Oh, that combat sequence was so good. I could quote you almost that entire movie, the first Top Gun.
It's so
Just-
good.
It's so good.
So good.
I saw
you kind of look like Iceman, actually. I
Thank
say it
you.
now.
I take that as a
Oh,
full compliment.
I
I was
see some new
exercising
memes coming.
today. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna put Luke on all the volleyball characters.
Sounds good to me. No.
Too dangerous.
New emotes.
that first soundtrack was pretty great, and the second one's good too. I like a good teaser. Like I'm a sucker for teasers. Just because I usually tend to nail nostalgia or vibe. And the Top Gun Maverick teaser is in my top 3 favorite movie teasers of all time, with The Dark Knight and Superman Returns, because Superman Returns used the old Superman music back when like Superman hadn't been around for 20 years kind of thing. That was the Brendan Routh one. They used the old song there, and then in the Dark Knight's teaser, you had never seen Heath Ledger's Joker until then, and it was just like whoa. And so I was like, oh, I've got to. And so then when Maverick came out with that chime, that like whatever that chime sound they make, and you see the F-18 flying, you're just like, ho ho ho, it's gonna be good.
Hey Luke, make sure you do not watch my and Clint's most recent episode of
it's
Spreading the Nerd.
It's ironic.
You might kick me out of the
It's ironic.
if you do. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Last time I listened to Spreading the Nerd, you were like, and I'm alluding to Luke. And then you proceeded to agree with me, whether you realized it or not.
Well, that might have been the point. That might have been the point. I don't know. But no. You probably do not want to hear what I had to say on that episode.
It is funny how we somehow got on this topic when somehow we also got on this topic.
As soon as I heard it get brought up, I'm like, oh, here he is.
Oh no!
Just give me
a
teaser.
Not about Top Gun. Not about Top Gun. It's about Batman.
Were you messing? Were you knocking Superman?
No.
No, it's about Batman.
He was knocking the Dark Knight.
Oh my gosh!
You can't knock the Dark Knight.
I'll put it out there.
I will stand on that hill until I die.
For that episode, there were some insane hot takes all through the episode.
It was a volcano in there. It was a volcano.
Luke, I'm with you. Dark Knight is a top 5 superhero movie.
Easily.
Like it's a top 5 movie.
Yeah.
In my
I said superhero movies and put it in very high standards, but
I was thinking earlier, I know we're going to get back to video games at some point, and I want to talk about movies too. But here we are. I was thinking about it today, and my top 3 superhero movies are really hard to nail down. Like the third one, I know my top 2 speak to me, like they speak to my soul, just the time of life and the type of heroes I want to see, because I like my DC characters dark. And so Zack Snyder's Justice League is one of those for me, because it was so dark. And that's like some people yes, some people no, I get it. But then the Dark Knight is in there, and then I'm like, okay, is it Infinity War? Is it Civil War? Is it The Winter Soldier, which is what I eventually landed on as my third? But like that's
a valid answer. That is a valid answer.
Winter Soldier is really good.
Winter Soldier is probably number 1 for me, because it's just
Infinity War is number 1
masterful.
But Winter Soldier is excellent.
It's tough, man. It's tough, and superhero movies they come with the caveat all the time, because we always say superhero movie, but Dark Knight to me speaks above that. That's a film.
It does for a lot of people, not me.
No one's perfect, Greg. No one's perfect. Side note, I'll say that we'll come back to movies later, but Ultraman Rising, so good. I just ask me about it later.
Mentioned that earlier, yeah.
You know, here we are. The animation is so beautiful. It's Spider-Verse level of quality. It doesn't run the range of styles that Into the Spider-Verse does, but the animation is top-notch quality, and I really, really liked it. So that is definitely something. It's on Netflix. Ultraman Rising, great feel-good movie. It's a kids movie, but as adults that watch kid movies, like definitely put it up there. It's just such a feel-good movie. So Ultraman Rising, don't miss it. What's up, Silent Cypher? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. So I've talked a lot. What have you guys been playing in the month of June that you guys wanted to give shout outs to game wise?
For me, the last week, putting in time on Final Fantasy 14 because the new expansion came out, or early access. The full reveal is, or full release is next, or tomorrow, yeah. So putting a lot of time in that, and then I beat yep, that Game Pass horror game.
Still Wakes the Deep.
Still Wakes the Deep. I enjoyed it. It's a walking simulator. I didn't find it very scary myself, but I finished it because the atmosphere is top notch, and then just kind of meandering around with other games. Nothing too crazy, honestly.
I know what game you haven't played.
Okay, it's in the cart. It's in the cart. So I haven't played, which I know is one of the greatest games of all time, and I haven't played Hollow Knight, which I know it's a big thing, but it's in the cart. It's good. It's in the cart.
Shut up, Luke.
I don't think it's as good as Rick evangelizes it, but it's really
Sucking
good.
it. How good is it?
It's on top. Sorry.
It's what?
It's on top of the. It's on the top 5.
I had to wait for a
All
second to see if I
time.
agree with you because I didn't know what you said either. But yes, thank you for backing me up.
It's a top 5 Metroidvania. I agree
No,
with
no.
that.
Top one.
It's top
Top
5
one.
all games.
Oh, of
Top
all games?
one
No.
Metroidvania.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I won't go that far, but it's damn good.
Well, it depends on what genre you prefer, but
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Metroidvanias is number one.
But as Metroidvania, yeah, one's deserved.
I don't know how you can't make a top 5 Metroidvania list without either Super Metroid or Castlevania. And to me,
They're
Super
in there.
Metroid,
It's just not
They're in
number
there,
one.
sure.
Yeah.
I don't know,
It's just they
Ca-
start
Castlevania
something,
is
you know.
still-
It's a bit like Xbox, you know. They're the first, so they are not the best because people come after and they improve and they learn from their mistakes.
Is
And
Demon's
it's
Souls the
better.
best Souls game? Absolutely not. Not even close. There's not many people who say it was. But
Nope. Not the Demon Souls PS3, no.
Oh,
I've
God.
beaten
Oh,
Hollow
yeah.
Knight, but I still think Ori is a better. Both
I
Ori
love
games
Ori.
are better.
I love Ori. No,
Ori,
no.
beautiful.
Ori's amazing. I love Ori, but 2 isn't even close to the quality of Hollow Knight.
And Castlevania.
The first
Symphony
one's close.
Night,
First one's
throwing
close.
that
I'll
out
say
there.
that. But
All right, so let's loop back. Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 14. Clint, you're playing it, but David, didn't you say you're playing that as well?
No, not 14. I was on 16.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I get confused.
I
Oh my
played
God.
14. That's the game I played quite
Gotcha.
a bit.
Silkenet has been a
After 6
madman.
years not playing it, I came back to it on the hope to clear 2 expansions in 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and I managed to do that today.
Okay.
Which is insane.
That's a triple-digit number of hours.
How many?
That's gotta
About
be
100 and something hours.
yeah. It's
It's
when
a
he
lot.
was because he's been messaging me about it on Discord. So I've been kind of like reliving the entire expansion packs through Silkenet, which has been awesome.
Mhm.
But I'm just like, does this man sleep? Does he eat? Because it's
Well,
like
I had the advantage to have last weekend was a 3-day weekend because we had a Monday off for
Mhm.
Quebec, and this weekend we had Monday off for Canada, the Canada Day, and I took my Friday off. So yeah, I had full days of Final Fantasy 14.
Mm.
I don't really recommend it
no.
because right now I'm on the verge of being burnt out,
Uh-huh.
but I'm caught up. So now I can take it easy, play an hour or 2 here and there, and I just need to not fall off the wagon again.
14's the MMO,
Yes,
Yeah. the MMO.
Yep.
and 16.
16 is the PS5 from last year.
And
But that's
16,
not-
I know you haven't played a Final Fantasy game. 16 is the one you should play because it's basically Devil May Cry set in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's action game. It's
It's
more.
actually the gameplay designer from Devil May Cry is on it, I believe. If
Oh,
I'm
is it? Well,
not mistaken.
Yep.
there we go.
Yeah. They hired the.
for 16,
Yeah.
it was the combat designer specifically.
So 16 is like Devil May Cry, but that one's PS exclusive, but
Yeah.
also
For
7
now.
is PS exclusive.
Yes.
Yes, the 7
Gotcha.
remakes are yes.
But 14 is on Xbox.
No, yes.
14.
It just
Yep.
came out. Yeah.
Yeah, it
It
just
is
came
now,
out this
yeah.
year on Xbox.
It's actually it's been out since like PlayStation 3.
yeah, it's just celebrated its 10th anniversary this year.
Wow.
I remember when they came out with the one expansion and they literally said, "Stop buying the game. Our servers are getting killed."
Yeah, that is one thing. This last expansion, it was a nightmare trying to get on the servers. This expansion has been a breeze. They did a really good job. Very easy to get back on.
Yeah. And apart from 14, I managed to finish the Elden Ring DLC.
You finished Shadow of the Air Tree as well.
Yeah, I didn't like explore 100%. I left some out in the world bosses that you encounter like multiple times, But I got all the big ones, all the remembrance, and
How long did it take you?
not that long. I think 20 hours.
Man, you must
fast
have
compared to everything else I've heard.
Yeah, that's fast. That's
I,
fast.
I was hearing 40 by most people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you really take your time to explore everything, and you want like all the shinies you see in the world, and you go to it. But if you manage to find a good build, and I took one that does a lot of damage, but that's really squishy. But if you manage to evade on time, you just 1 or 2 shot the bosses.
1 or 2 shot him?
Yeah, there's some crazy builds out there.
I didn't think
One
I
is
didn't think
Bale, the
expansion
big
ever got to that
dragon.
point.
There's a big dragon, and I summoned my mimic. He stunned, like does its plunging attack on me. We managed to stun him, and as soon as he was stunned, he was dead. Because the
Jeez.
perfume lightning build I had
Mhm.
just did 50k damage.
How
While
long does it take to get a build like that?
Not long. Because I came in the DLC with a save that had what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
We still
The
have
right
to
talisman.
you still get the scatter-tree things, right? I heard if you
Yeah,
go into
yeah,
it with even
yeah,
a max
yeah.
level build, you don't do crap damage until you start getting those.
No. I
scatter-tree
was
fragments.
like 12 or 13 out of 20 when I did that.
It's actually pretty low from what I've heard of.
It's out of 20.
Silkenit is just a beast. Let's all just
Yeah,
I was gonna be
clearly.
like, come on, man, this is not
That's actually
natural.
what
This
I'm
is not
saying.
normal.
Like I've seen people that had 16, 18 and were struggling, and you did with
Silkenit's just
13.
built
It
different.
always depends on what you use, and like I don't hide myself. The first time I ran through it was with my mimic tier plus 10.
Maybe the French edition's different.
Well, I'm in Canada, and I'm
I'm kidding.
Well, I was talking to Ains, and Ains knew better than to try and like list me his build and stuff. But he and Joe were in our chat, just going back and forth about mimic tiers and perfumes and all this other stuff. And I'm just like,
I know what the mood tier is. I don't know what the perfume stuff is though.
I don't know what half of it is, but I also know Ains takes forever to go through stuff. So if he says 40, that's like maybe 15 extra hours. But then when Silkenit's saying he did it in 20, that's lower than I've heard anybody say.
That's very, very low from what I've seen.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I'm
think the
scared to go
minimum I've
back.
seen is like 40.
I'm
30
scared.
to 40 is what I was seeing most places.
Really?
Like I'm not saying Silkenit's lying. I'm just saying that's really low.
My reviewer did it in 25. He said 10 to get to the final boss, 15 to do all the side stuff, like for him. So
I guess if you're good at them, maybe.
Yeah.
also might depend on what character you bring in too.
Yeah.
I mean,
build wise
like,
for sure.
I have no idea what my character was or could do, and I'm scared to go back on the sole premise of having to relearn that game.
Yeah, and a lot of people like did the mistake to start the DLC on New Game Plus or +2, +3 because that they reused the save they had, and they have been playing for 2 years, but everything scales with you.
Right.
So,
I've seen a lot of people making that mistake, and it's they did not design you to play that the first time on a New Game Plus run at all.
oh.
Yeah, that's not happening for me. Oof. What else have you guys been playing? So we covered Final Fantasy, Lords of the Fallen. Hollow Knight was not purchased by Clint. We know that for sure.
No.
Anything else kind of that you've been playing?
I've been playing Elden Ring, but not the same parts as Silkenit. I've been playing the main game, which has been available for 2 years. Progressing nicely, though, finally. I got through the Lendell Capital, which I was like, okay, this is by far the best part of the game so far. Like that was infinitely better than every single part of the open world, in my opinion. I beat the boss at the end of that, who was also, in my opinion, the best boss up to that point. I thought that was a very, very good boss. So I am now in the mountainous area, whatever it's called, Mountains of Giants or whatever.
Yeah.
And I stopped there. Yeah, I know people don't tend to like that area, so I'm sure I'll be right back to going, this game. But
I think it's
we'll
that
see.
Lingrave is so beautiful and fun that going anywhere else feels strange.
I didn't mind, how do you pronounce it, Luernia of the Lakes, but I hated Caelid. Caelid ruined that game for me for literally a year and a half. Like, I did not want to play that area at all.
Is that the red area?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Where like everything looks dead and there's all the dragons, which the dragons are cool. But everything else about it I hate. I did not like the fight against Star Scourge Radon. I thought it was a dumb fight. I did not like any of the other bosses I came across over there. But once I finally got out of there, I'm like, all right, now I can kind of get back to actually the parts about like these kind of games that I like. And then also, actually, I realized it was only today I started it, but I realized that since they released the final update 3 weeks ago, I think it was, I had not jumped back into Chernobylite, which I have on PC. So I have I found out that the updates have not come to console yet, which I didn't realize. But I do have it on PC, so I have them. And that's a pretty cool game for anyone who hasn't played it yet. Is
that an
everyone familiar with that
FPS?
one? It's a first yes and no.
Okay.
Because it is, but it's not just a shooter. It's also, it has some survival aspects to it, but not like Pal World level survival. Like you're not building a town or anything like that. You're scavenging for resources. There's, I don't know, 10 different kinds maybe. And you're using those to, when you get back to your base at the end of the day, you'll build things to manufacture stuff yourself, but not like automated stuff. So you can build like a gun and you can build upgrades for the gun and stuff like that. Like you choose it all yourself. But what's cool about it, well, first of all, is the setting, as the name would indicate. It's in Chernobyl. You play as a guy named Igor, who was a scientist during the actual nuclear accident, and what goes back, I don't remember what year it takes place, but I want to say it's 30 years later. So it's, it's in the 2010. So I assume it's probably whenever it came out, but he's looking for his wife who he hasn't heard from in 30 years and blah, 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 blah. But it takes a supernatural thing in that they discover this element that they call Chernobylite, hence the name. And it allows them to, like, at first it's pretty simple. It's just like kind of creating portals back and forth and stuff like that. But eventually, because the whole point is you're planning a heist to go back into the nuclear reactor to get something. I don't even remember what it is at this point. But as you're playing the different sections of the world, which are all photo scanned areas of the Chernobyl area, which is actually pretty cool. So the forests look really cool and all that stuff. The Pripyat like amusement park is all there and stuff like that. You will occasionally come across an NPC or whatever, and you have to make a decision whether to save them, rescue, kill them, whatever. But the decision that you make will affect things that happen down the line. So eventually you get to the point where you learn to use the Chernobylite to go back in time to redo sections and kind of change the course of things. And it's actually pretty neat. It's really well done. And they have added a lot since that game first came out, because it was kind of simplistic at first, but they've added all new kinds of like monsters and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I definitely suggest checking it out if it's. I mean, I'm kind of big in the Chernobyl area setting. Like I've kind of always liked Stalker ever since back in the day, so it kind of really jumped my fascination with the setting.
Somebody's TV in the background is coming through really strong. Thanks, Clint. I think it was Clint. I think it was Clint's. I heard the Liberty commercial. Rick, how old is Chernobylite?
2016, maybe. I don't remember. I can actually look it up. Hold on.
I was curious because I remember aesthetically it reminded me of Metro, but that was the gas mask.
Yeah, it really doesn't play anything like Metro. Gotcha. Stalker is closer to Metro, and really Stalker and Metro don't play all that much alike either.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Oh, 2021. So actually, it's not as old as I thought it was.
So would you recommend it to people?
Oh yeah, definitely. I could not tell you how the controller controls feel on it. I assume it's okay, but I've played it mouse and keyboard. But they do have it on console, and they actually have a native Series X/S as well as PS5 version. I play it on PC simply because on PC you can get ray tracing as well as obviously higher frame rates and stuff like that. But it is definitely something I would suggest checking out. It's really cool. It's kind of a small team that made it too, and they really did make something pretty special here.
Gotcha. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. David, did you tell all the games that you've been playing? Or did you go over the
I
stuff that you
didn't.
want to see?
A lot of it for me is a lot of Call of Duty. Like I
Mhm.
play with friends. We've been actually trying to grind the ranked mode because we want to get our ranks up high enough so that when they do reset here in about 3 to 4 weeks, that we
Mhm.
our ranks don't drop too hard.
Mm.
Because we really enjoy playing that. But I have been mixing in some X Defiant, which has actually been a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Just it's mainly just that it's a different pace. It's more similar to the older Black Ops games
Mhm.
in the way that it plays. So people looking for something that's a little more old school when it comes to first person shooters, like not old school necessarily in terms of like Doom or something like that, but old school in like that old Modern Warfare 2 lobbies feel, like just minus, as much of the cursing, I guess,
Mhm.
uh, and slurs. But the main thing is just that it's fun. It's one of the games that I get in a lot of trouble because there is no prone in this game. So you can't go belly down. Like, so I'm trying to get out of situations and I just crouch down. Like, no, I gotta go. I can't go to the ground in this game
Mhm.
because I'm so used to some of the different mechanics in COD, and it
Mhm.
makes it makes you have to kind of retrain your brain. And some things are good, like my aim has been decent. The welcome playlist, I was shredding people. When you're dropping like 50 bombs in
Mhm.
the welcome playlist, you're like, oh, I'm feeling good. And then got sent back to Earth when I got into the no SBMM and ended up in some lobbies with some really high ranked players.
Mm.
But it's fun and it's free to play. So it's one of those things of you can tell they put in the work. These people actually give a crap about making a good first person shooter. And at least for now, it looks like Ubisoft is going to support it.
Mhm.
And probably the funniest thing I'd ever heard was Mark Rubin, the director over there.
Mhm.
I got to do an interview with him, and he brought up like I was asking him like random dream mode for the game, and
Mhm.
one of the things he said was he's like, I want to make a mode in X Defiant that is Helldivers 2. He's like, but I want it to be with rabbits.
Oh, wow.
Like the rabbits coming. I was
Yeah.
dying. Like I'm like, I want that mode now, Mark Rubin. You better bring it to me in X Defiant. But
It's gonna be their answer to zombies.
but it's like it's nice to have options. Like as much as I super enjoy Call of Duty, and it's not going to make me stop playing Call of Duty, uh, it's nice to have something I can be like, okay, I just want to break from playing COD right now,
Mhm.
but I don't want to not play a COD like game because
Mhm.
I very much enjoy playing military shooters with friends, but I
Mhm.
don't always want to go to like Rainbow Six where I'm having to slow play, do stuff really, really strategically. Sometimes I just want to run around and have fun, and there's not a lot of arcade shooters out there that work as well as COD does. So it's nice to have something else on the market that you can do that with.
I tend to rotate between Fortnite and COD, and then within COD, like two different mindsets of Warzone or multiplayer. Two
Yeah.
very different mindsets. But I did see kind of through the grapevine that Deadpool and Wolverine are having a crossover with COD, and I'm
Yep.
excited by that.
Yep, for sure. I'm assuming that's a season 5 thing, so I will definitely I do seasonal impressions for COD every
Mhm.
season. So like I'll play that and talk about it and do all the fun stuff.
Mhm.
Uh COD's the thing really that I play. COD helped me and my friends stay in and my family actually stay in contact during COVID. Like we even have my dad. My dad plays with us.
Oh, cool.
Uh so it's like my dad, my brother, my brother-in-law, we all were together, and now we've grown to a group of like 15 people that just play multiplayer together. So throughout the week we're in our Discord. Hey, anybody wanting to play? Dropping stuff about new weapons and loadouts that we can do. My brother actually jumps on like Adobe and actually builds map call out lists. Like, so we're literally like, he's up top blue, he's over there in green, he's over there in like he's over elbow, like all that kind of crap. Like we're hardcore.
Well, if
how
you
we
ever want
play.
to, you can say, I think you need to like close one eye and maybe tie one arm behind your back, but then you can come play Warzone with us. Because we're very tactical, but we're not very good. We're very strategic.
I like to think that I'm better than I probably am. But I got invited to Treyarch, so at least I feel like I'm doing okay for myself.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
actually just bought all the Black Ops old games on Steam during the Steam sale because plan on streaming those, kind of doing a campaign stream to get ready for Black Ops 6.
Let me just tell y'all, for
that'll
him
be
to have
fun.
bought them, for David to have bought them now, he very much was hoping they would have dropped on Game Pass by now. Like all of us.
I'll agree. Like on PC for sure. Like that's cause that was the only reason, because I have them on Xbox. Like I just don't want to. I'd rather play them on PC. It's just so much easier to do all the streaming straight from it because I've got the Elgato, but then I would have to drag my Xbox downstairs and all that kind of stuff, and it's just, I don't want to have to do all the cable setup and stuff when I can just hit a button and Streamlabs it from my PC.
That's fair.
But I'm also like, my PC also has a 4080 in it, so I'm getting like 240 frames on COD.
That's insane and unfair.
I want every advantage that I can possibly get. And
Yeah.
if I can get 300 frames per second while playing, then yeah.
It's funny because I know you and I are very into COD, but I know that Rick and Clint are very much Battlefield people.
Hey, I respect Battlefield. Technically, is a better game, like in the technical details. Like, but Call of Duty is more fun.
Oh,
because Call of Duty, I can turn my brain off a lot more. Battlefield, I have to think very hard about how I am playing that game. With bullet drop and all that kind of stuff.
That's
like
pretty on point.
A good thing. It's awesome. It's just that there's a different level of how you were playing Battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah, when me and Clint play, we're friggin' cannon fodder for the other team typically.
Yeah, it's just all out madness. But yeah, it is a different mentality for sure.
I've done the spawn in, sprint 10 feet, sniped, spawn in, sprint 10 feet, get sniped.
It's happened to all of us.
That's my Battlefield experience in a nutshell.
Yeah, my brother used to be the one who, when at least he could probably still do it now. He would literally like just spin around, aim his sniper at a helicopter, and snipe the pilot out of it. Like I was like, dude, you suck. I hate you. Like you are technically like more gifted at playing these shooters than I am. I've managed to, at least in these couple of years playing with him on COD, like I think I'm smarter than he is at this point at it. Like I think faster, but he is just technically better. Like just the way he can play. But yeah, COD, man, I'm so excited for Black Ops 6 and all that kind of stuff. Beta, can't wait for beta.
I'm more of a Modern Warfare person than Black Ops, but I am excited for Black Ops 6. That omnidirectional movement looks exciting. I like that COD means something different this year, which is interesting in and of itself.
I can tell you I played it. I just can't say anything else.
That's fair. I knew that you played it. I just didn't want to put you on blast. Hey, shout out to this guy, Mr. Rick Davis, #1 Battlefield fan.
We need more guys like that in the community.
It is cool seeing the membership stuff. I will say, like the transition from Patreon to memberships and stuff. So now that you guys get to do this, it's something to adjust to, but it's cool. I like getting to like spotlight your comments.
That's neat.
Fun. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Guys, we are set for a killer July as far as Game Pass is concerned. Flintlock being a huge one. Kinitsugami Path of the Goddess is coming out. It's not in Game Pass, but I somehow equate it because it's coming out free to play. The First Descendant is tomorrow, and I'm interested in that one as well. I don't know if it's going to be great or not, but it's free to play. I feel like July has got a lot of really cool, what look to be gem kind of games, like those smaller but really exciting type games. I know I'm looking forward to those 3. Did any of those speak to any of you guys?
I think I'm going to get Flintlock for sure, although I'm probably going to get it on PC, so the Game Pass doesn't quite matter for me. But I did play the Steam demo when they released that. I actually thought it was pretty good. It's kind of wild that they advertise it as a Souls-like, because it kind of is, but it kind of isn't at the same time. Well, based on what I played, obviously it was brief, but I did like what I played though. It was pretty cool. Little AA, like definitely not any kind of AAA level.
Not to interrupt you, did you see we got a comment in chat there?
Yeah, like I said, we need more guys like that other guy. This guy, we need less of them. We gotta get these people out of here.
Shooters are overrated. What?
Oh
Yes.
boy.
What?
Not wrong.
People
Not
from
wrong.
all
Even as
faiths
even as
in
a
this
lifelong
place.
shooter fan, that is not incorrect.
Oh no. Oh no. So Flintlock.
Yeah.
I know I'm on board. Rick's on board. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Especially it's on
definitely.
Game Pass, right?
Yeah, it'll come to Game Pass.
Yeah,
July. I had it pulled
Yep.
up. I think it's
July
July
18th.
17th.
I think it's
Demo
8th,
was
yeah.
demo was okay, and yeah, since on Game Pass.
I didn't get a chance to play the demo, but I've been looking at it since it was originally revealed, and definitely looking forward to it.
I did the preview at the Xbox show. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Which one, for Flintlock or for Kinetsugami?
Flintlock.
Flintlock. Got you. Something about that trailer just nailed it for me. That trailer at was it the Xbox Showcase or Summer Game Fest?
It was at the Xbox show.
It was
Gotcha.
at both, I think, wasn't
Like,
it?
I don't remember if it was
I
that.
thought it
or
was.
yes, I don't remember it being it. No, I don't think it was, because they actually, like, the appointments that I had for it was at the Xbox show specifically. So
SGF has this weird, like, looking back. I hate to use this term, but it feels so flaccid next to the Xbox Showcase. That's really not a fair assessment.
there was still some good stuff there.
Yeah, there was good stuff, but like next to the bombshells, I feel like a good show doesn't look good, and I hate that for it, because I saw games that I still wanted to play, like Arkham Shadow and Power Rangers, and there were at least two others that I was like, oh, this is cool. And then like the Alan Wake DLC, I played that. That was really good. That was at Summer Game Fest.
Hey, Killer Bean, man.
Everybody
Gear.
cheered for that. I don't get it.
Metal Gear Bean, baby.
Yep.
I don't get it. Why does everybody love that one? Is it the art?
It's just
David
different.
Hayter.
I think what got me
Yeah.
ended up getting me on Flintlock is just because it's like a Souls-like, but it's like more Souls-light in the sense of like it's not as punishing, and it's kind of like in that same idea of like Black Myth and all these others we've been talking about, of like it's nice to get something in that vein, but that isn't so punishing.
It does have difficulty
and-
options too, whereas the
yeah,
other ones don't.
Exactly. Yeah, if you want the difficulty, it's there, but if you don't have to go with it. If anything, you can actually play more of a story mode version of it to
Yeah.
just
Well,
enjoy.
One
I
day
will
From
say,
Software will learn sliders.
I will say, anyone who goes to try it, don't judge it off the first like 20 minutes, because they were pretty repetitive and boring pretty fast. I was like, oh boy. But then once the unbeatable boss happens that every Souls always has, after that it's like, okay, now this is actually how the game plays, and it does open up a bit then. So put a little bit of time into it for something you're interested in, because the opening is pretty kind of boring.
Yeah. Thankfully, they started our demo in another section at the show, and it was like, okay, this is a lot of fun. And then I went and played the demo, and like you said, I was like, oh geez, this is not anything like what I just played.
It's a rough start, because it's really repetitive and really boring.
Very boring.
Like the little fox guy that you get magic spells, you don't
it's
have him in the beginning, so there's not much you can really do combat wise.
That's the problem of tutorials areas.
Yep. And it's a pretty good sized tutorial, because even when you get the fox, like at least 5 to 10 minutes of that are just more tutorial. And then when you finally get to the first village, like that's when it really kind of kicks up. And then
start
you
to see all the
travel
options,
from there, and then everything's good.
It always strikes me as odd that the industry's been around for so long, and tutorials have been a mainstay element. Like, games have been teaching us how to play them since they were incepted, right? Like there were ways for that to happen, and like Mega Man taught you that you could run, but you had to jump or you would die, and then it resets you. And like some games did it by just telling you nothing. Hellblade, Mega Man, the first Mario. Other games give you these super drawn out explanations for their complex systems. Like
Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah,
there's tutorials 80 hours into that game.
Oh, I got a tutorial message at 150 hours on a mechanic I was using since like 100 hours before that.
Facts.
When I played Kinetsugami to and I'm sure people are going to see this when they start playing the demo, which is out now, by the way, and has the Okami crossover stuff, right?
I think so.
Is it Okami?
I think
That's what
that's
we're
what
talking
Jam Pack Sam said, yeah.
Yeah.
So Kinetsugami Okami?
Yeah, pretty much.
Say that 5 times fast.
Ooh, nope. I feel like I'd be swearing in 6 languages. But like when I played it, there was so much reading, and I don't like reading in games, right? I read books, no problem, but like in games, I get overwhelmed. Just like too much. When the guy came over and told me, like, oh no, that's just this. That's just this. It was so simple. He's like, tower defense, do this. Click here. Done. And I was able to enjoy it. And it's just funny to me how a tutorial that's long and drawn out can really ruin a game experience. Like, how do we not know yet? It's got to be fixed by now. Like, we should know better as an industry. No one, just me. That cloud up there.
No,
old man yelling at that cloud.
I definitely feel like hands-on approach is better than a wall of text. Like a wall of text isn't going to help me do it. I need to actually push the button a few times to get it working, or to get it working in my head, type of thing, for sure.
I think my biggest thing is being interrupted. Like that's one thing that was part of that tutorial, is it was just constant. Like I'm going to swing, or actually no, it was Paper Mario. Like I was recently, like I said, was playing that on the Switch, and I kept getting like you said, walls of text. But it's like it was very much that feeling of I'm being interrupted.
Mm-hmm.
And like, is there a way I couldn't make the text scroll faster or anything? It was or skip or anything. It was just having to hit that gamer, hit the A button until it all goes away, even though it's not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, just let me play this game. I've done video games long enough that you should let people play at their pace.
I agree. Like the worst tutorial are also the one that requires you to do what they want. Like you have to parry 3 times. Okay.
I'd like to welcome back Rick Davis, who's now leaving the show.
Nope, he's
back, and there is Twyla.
No,
there she is.
Of honor.
Look at that puppy. Look at that sweetie. I love her.
She resulted in a cup getting knocked over, but
That's
all right.
Worth it. Worth it. I love a good pup. Her fur is so pretty. So pretty.
A Stellar Blade was one of the most recent that I can think of tutorials that were annoying. Like Silken has said, like do 3 parries, and like while you're doing a parry or like you're doing a regular move, because it asks you to, it also stops you in the middle of that and says, while you're doing this, do that. I'm like, can I finish the first thing you told me before you start adding more? It was very like interruptive, almost intrusive type of thing. And yeah, don't do it anymore, developers. We don't need it.
Yeah.
Well, and let me point out, like Elden Ring, for instance, like at the beginning, it does you can drop into this pit and you can go through and do all the tutorial stuff, or you can jump right out the door. Like I appreciate when a game, and that's probably more what I'm trying to say, is just I want to play it my pace. Like let players figure out that pace they want to play at, and let them kind of choose if they want to make mistakes and learn.
Yeah. Like games don't use options enough. Like you should have an option to have a tutorial or not. You should have an option for difficulty, even in Elden Ring or Dark Souls. Like, what stops them to put a slider on your damage that you're taking? Like, just adding that.
Silkenet, did you ever play Steel Rising?
No, it's on my.
Okay. That one is one that has difficulty sliders.
Yeah, I played another Krebs
and it's
Treasure.
perfect. Yeah,
I played another Krebs Treasure recently. I didn't touch any of the accessibility option, but you can change your parry window. You can change the damage you're taking, the damage you're doing. You can remove the Souls mechanic of losing your stuff when you die. And you can have a gun to one-shot anything. But it's all optional. The base game is designed like they want, and they just give options to people. And games are interactive. They are developed like it's not like a movie. A movie, you film it, and that's the final product. The consumer can't touch anything.
Mm-hmm.
You like it or not. A game has that leeway, and it's not used enough, in my opinion.
I agree. The sliders are everything. When I have access to them and I can make use of them, they're the absolute best in games. They're interactive experiences, to your point, right? Like as you said, But in a movie, you're just sitting back. So the idea that I'm involved, I have to remember stuff. And that brings up Nisa Howard's point in chat. They need a tutorial if you haven't played in a while. Yes. We joke about it on socials, calling it like old man mode or whatever. But like
like Red Beast said. So.
Yeah, exactly.
If anything,
yes,
at this
Red
point,
Beast.
it's not even just old man mode. There's so many video games out there to play. And with something like Game Pass, like, you go a week, you've already got 5 new games to play. So it's like by that point, I've already forgotten how to play your game if I only played it for like 2 hours.
Yeah, that or even the story. Like something like I liked in Final Fantasy XIV. I didn't play for 6 years. I came back to my character, and they have a little book you can access with all the summaries of all the main story quests. And you can replay all the cinematics if you want. You can catch up on the story like that at your own pace, and you're good to go.
That's how it should be. Just caught up, jump in, you're good. Like, especially if you have complex mechanics, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that's what keeps me away from games like 4A games, even in universes that I love. Like if there's Star Trek 4A games or Star Wars 4A games, like that's right where I want to be. But no, there's too much to manage and keep up with. And I just can't. I can't keep up. Rick Davis, you're back and not covered in water.
I wish it was water. That was iced tea.
Uh-oh.
Thankfully, there wasn't a ton of it. Yeah, I wanted to get it up before it got too bad.
Gotcha. It was worth it for us to see Twyla, I will say.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah, big fans.
I figured she's almost the unofficial mascot of this show at this point. So
yeah. Yes. Is anybody checking out the First Ascendant, or is that just me?
I was going to until I saw free to play.
Why?
I'm interested, extremely skeptical on their model. It depends on how their pay model is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and of course gameplay, but
yeah, I installed it. I'll see how they do. Yeah, the monetization and the new characters you can unlock mostly, because I want to see how it compares to Warframe on that.
Warframe's kind of a dated vibe, though, right? Like Warframe's been out for 15 years or something like that.
It's been out for a while, but
they always come back with a new expansion that
seems like it's going better than ever, though.
Yeah, and it's like a few expansions, anyways. It could be like a year ago now, isn't it? Like open world in some areas now too. It's not like
the some maps are really big. Yeah. And the next expansion is starring Ben Starr and Neil Newborn. So
Ben Starr is such a cool guy, such a cool talent,
Maybe you should play Final Fantasy 16 then.
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe. He's
So
going to wait for it to go on Game Pass.
Yeah, you're right. When it comes to Xbox, I'll try it.
Someday.
Play the demo.
But I'm surprised by your reaction, Rick. Why a free-to-play game are you saying no to? Because a lot of games have free-to-play now.
And I don't like those games.
That's
the only one that I do like is Rocket League, and it got objectively worse when it went free-to-play.
But why, like, a game being free-to-play doesn't make it bad or good. It just means that its model is different. So why, seeing free-to-play, does that just say, no, I'm not doing that?
Well, first and foremost, I do believe that the game needs to have some barrier of entry. Minor as some of them are, it needs to have one, and free-to-play removes that barrier entirely. Plus, for the most part, I mean, I think we can all agree that most free-to-play games are pretty much crap. That's not to say all of them, but a lot of them absolutely are. It is not a model I'm even remotely interested in. I tried Genshin Impact because I read that, oh, hey, it's actually really fun. You can play it without spending $1. It doesn't rip you off. Yeah, I completely disagree. That game was an absolute money hole if you wanted to ever get a decent character. And I didn't like the gameplay that much anyway, so it really didn't bother me to stop playing it.
A lot of them are designed with lead you to spend money first as the model. The model is not quality gameplay. It's not great graphics. It's literally how do we get players to spend money? Like that's where their design philosophy is.
And First Ascendant does have absolutely good graphics. I think it's Unreal Engine 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. and I thought it looked interesting, and I was like, okay, you know, I realized it's obviously a multiplayer focused game, which is typically not my thing. But I was like, I'll give it a try. And then I saw that, I'm like, I just don't care now. It completely sapped any interest I had out of it.
So, to me, it's the art that I'm like, yeah, I mean, this looks like it could be an Anthem-esque, or like, I like mech games, right? And the low barrier to entry is actually what allows me to go in and then exit them, thinking about Exoprimal. I had a great 2 or 3 weekends with Exoprimal.
Yep.
Like, that was a blast for the time I played it. And then I was done. And I don't think I spent any money in there. I had a good time. And that's what I feel like First Descendant is going to be for me. Is I'm going to jump in, play a little bit, and then nobody's going to do it. I think it's going to DOA, and I'll be. It's got more life.
Even though I didn't care for it, when I first saw it, I know it had been announced a long time ago, but when they showed it at Summer Game Fest, I was like, hey, maybe this will be like an Outriders that connects more with me. And I'm just like, maybe not. So I'm just not even going to bother at this point.
Outriders was fun.
I wanted to like it. It didn't quite work with me though. But
the problem is Outriders multiplayer worked really bad.
Yep.
It was
like
rough.
I played it mostly with friends in Europe, and it was unplayable with them.
Yep. Yeah, it was rough.
The expansion was actually really good.
Yeah, the story
I really like I got a
was
drop
okay.
for a gun that was essentially the Hammer of Dawn, and that was totally worth the price of entry.
In Outriders?
Yeah, there was a gun that like literally brought like a beam down from the sky. And I was like, this is straight up the Hammer of Dawn. And since the game already has some gearsiness to it, it was like, oh, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I always threw out my turret. I'm a sucker for turrets. So, like, I like to throw out turrets and make that work for me. So, I liked Outriders, man. That game deserved. Maybe it didn't deserve. I think it deserved better, but, like, maybe it didn't, you know? Like, yeah, maybe it didn't.
But it seems like it was almost there, but not quite, and that was probably its undoing.
Yeah, it lived in AA. It
lived
in there.
I'm probably the only person here who will probably play it in July, but I'm looking forward to the new college football game. It's been a very long time since one of those has come out, and I like playing college football games even more than Madden half the time. Just because college football's fun.
Yeah.
Something that'll be a nice chill thing where I don't have to another turn the brain off kind of thing.
Fair.
Yeah.
My friend
is a lot of people in Discord looking forward to that in the XEP Discord. There's a lot of people.
Yeah, and I make fun of my buddy Kev. He's my best friend in the whole world. I make fun of him because he now is strutting like he's a professional voice actor because they recorded his stadium audio the day that he was at the NC State game. And he's like, I'm a professional voice actor. And I'm like, sure you are, bud. Sure you are.
Put that on a resume, dude.
He's very proud of it. He's very proud of it. Red Beast in chat saying, I think its developer incentives have changed under free-to-play, focuses on the player to spend and ways to get players to spend, thus tweaks to in-game drops, season pass achievements based on data. I agree with that. For sure. For sure.
Yeah,
I think it's very well said.
It drives a lot of game designs and gameplay. For sure.
Yep. And it kind of bums me out too. But because I enjoy mobile games, I don't mind paying in live service games and such. But when I feel that they are aggressively plucking away at my dollar, and my dollar doesn't travel far at all, and it feels predatory, then I'm out. That's when I'm out.
Yeah. What is it? Black Hawk. No.
Delta Force.
Delta Force. I didn't know it was free to play until just a few days ago, and last week it was literally like probably my top most wanted game this year, and now I'm just like, well, crap.
I watched a man's heartbreak in real time.
Yeah, like I'm still going
I can
to
at least tell you,
but
it's actually fun. I'm surprised.
It looks fantastic.
I got to play. I got a behind closed doors gameplay session at Summer Game Fest.
Okay, so before you I want you to talk about what you can talk about from that. But I will say I felt awful because during Summer Game Fest, I had windows of time and they were like arranging extra meetings for like devs that had time. They're like, hey, we can get you in with such and such. And like, depending on my mood or my vibe or my energy levels, I would take it or decline it, whatnot. But man, every single time they were like, we got Delta Force. And I felt so bad because like I could like look over to they had like you must check in with this person after like checkpoints, and you could look past the checkpoint guy and just kind of see people sitting there. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. As I worried about that, at least in general. I felt bad for them. Now, David, was that your experience or did you enjoy your time with it?
No, I had fun. What was really funny is I'm a controller player on PC. But they only had keyboard and mouse there for Delta Force. But I know enough to pick it up. And what was funny was one of the girls who was the dev, she was behind me and she was like, "Oh, you're just doing this just normal." Like she's like, "You're the best. You're one of the best players we've had so far." Like, I don't use a keyboard and mouse, so it's kind of funny. It reminds me. It's kind of like if you take Call of Duty's gunplay mechanics but put them in a Battlefield style. Like it's actually very crisp. The gunplay mechanics that I got to play were very well done. The movement felt good. It's just that like the mode that they let us play is the main mode. It's like a Battlefield-esque. The conquest mode is essentially what we were playing. So it was fun. The only thing I felt kind of off, and it might just be the map that they put us on, was it didn't feel like there was a reason for me to use SMGs. Because just when you're running around a map that's humongous, if you do not have good routes to take, then you might as well put away a gun that can't hit somebody, past 15 feet. But that map but they had tanks that you could get in and shoot people and all that kind of stuff. They had all kinds of different stuff that were in there. And then they've even got a DMZ style extraction shooter that's in there as well. So that was a lot of fun running around with my editor-in-chief. We teamed up and we were running around in the extraction shooter, and actually it was decently fun. I guess the question is, as always with these things, at what point do I need to spend money to have fun or to get better at the game? But just at the surface level, I mean, it's a fun game. And then they're also doing the one paid thing that they did tell us about there was if you play. If you want to do the campaign, they're remastering the campaign from Black Hawk Down, or if that's the right name, but they're remastering that campaign, and that will be their paid. That will be the paid thing. Okay. So you can buy the campaign. So hopefully they'll just keep things to be mostly free to play. It looks like a lot of stuff you'll be able to earn. It's also very similar to Battlefield, and at least I think so because it's been a second since I played Battlefield. But certain operators use certain weapons. Like the medic class, he was the SMG class, whereas this other guy was the assault class. So you could only use certain guns with each one. So I like the ideas they have there. It's fun. The extraction was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. The only problem I had was I had like 30 minutes left, so I didn't have a lot of time to figure out the mechanics. So and learn what different things meant on the map. But I think you'll at least be able to have fun with it, even if it's disappointing that it's free to play.
Clint, did that change your mind in any way, shape, or form?
I'm still skeptical. I'm just wondering how they're going to monetize it. That's because I don't think they're going to have skins in that game. They might skins in that game like Call of Duty and stuff to monetize. So I'm very interested how they're going to monetize it.
The campaign's one of them, but I think some of your monetization will be in the DMZ, like the extraction shooter. Like it'll be, I think it's going to be credits oriented to like, crap, I just did I don't want to take all this time building up for the run. So I want to buy like some stuff out of the auction house or whatever, because they were showing stuff like that. So I think the actual base multiplayer actually might be the most clean part of that game. Whereas the extraction shooters where the money's probably going to be.
If that functions at all like Tarkov, that actually could be a major issue. Because if you're able to just buy good weapons, and that completely unbalances it. Like you said, not the main multiplayer, just the extraction. But that'll completely ruin the extraction.
And that's just the question is, how does it work?
Right. Yeah. Time will tell.
Well, those are kind of some of the things that I was looking forward to as far as First Ascendant and stuff, and then we kind of parkoured our way into Delta Force, which David kind of sold me more on it than I was expecting to. So, okay. I guess the kind of closing question is, what else do we want to talk about before we exit out? What else is on our minds? We got time.
Just some games on July to shoot out. Bow and the Bow Path of the Teal Lotus, if you're into Metroidvania. It's hand-drawn. It's really pretty. It plays very well.
I downloaded the demo to that. It's not playable now. It just says pre-purchase.
I
didn't realize it was.
Yeah, it was maybe during the Steam
What's it
Next
called?
Fest.
Yeah.
Bo.
Just B-O, and
Yeah.
Path of the Teal Lotus.
Got it.
Yeah.
Path of the Teal Lotus.
That one.
All right. Cool.
If you're into ARPG, Last Epoch is going to have their first season, 1.1 in
Excited
next
for that.
week.
And the dodge mechanic finally added.
Yeah, dodge mechanic, new boss, new factions, all that. Dungeons of Interberg, that was showcasing at the Xbox. I think it's coming onto Game Pass.
Why are people excited about that one, Silkenit? Because I see it and I don't get it. So tell me
it's a dungeon crawler. So you go explore your dungeon, fight, and when you come back into town, you have an aspect of relationships with the locals that gives you certain buffs or abilities on the dungeon crawling side.
Okay.
So it's more, it's just the action. The art style is really unique too.
It's got that
It's
like
all cel-shaded.
minimalistic cell shaded approach, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I felt like people were going to go either Flintlock or Dungeons was what I was thinking people would do, is choose one or the other. Are they the same day?
I think Flintlock is more like
They are the same day.
Okay.
probably 18th. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything comes on that week. Like on the 16th, there's a Flock.
What is Flock?
That's-
Which one is that?
Flock is it's hard to describe that one. You're just flying around and meeting and cataloging creatures,
Mm-hmm.
and you have them follow you. It's just doing little side quests for people and just.
That sounds like an
exploring the
Ellery
world.
game. Is that an Ellery game?
That's,
An Ellery
that's an
genre.
Ellery Silkenit game.
Yep. Yep. Shout out to Ellery. Love them.
What? Because there's so much.
Hollow Knight is on sale.
Yeah, but Hollow Knight didn't come out this month.
I was about to say, if you were about to tell me Silk Song just dropped,
Yeah,
just
Shadow
now,
drop.
I'd be leaving, not coming back if that was the case.
yeah, Rick would have been like, "Well,
Like, click.
So I clear it up. I just went and found this information just for reference. The Hawk Ops, the monetization will be cosmetic.
Okay.
The auction house is actually going to be selling or buying upgrades for the in-game currency. Like if I go into the extraction, get a bunch of bullets, as like, oh, I'm going to sell some of my bullets to other people, and then so that's at least a lot more fair. You can't just go in there and swipe a credit card and win.
Right. It'll be interesting to see how they work the auction house for sure.
Yep.
my credit."
Sorry,
card
didn't
allowed
want to
me
interrupt.
win
I just
many
found that
games.
out.
I win a
Thank you
lot
for
of
that clarification.
I win a lot of free to play thanks to my credit card. My wife
And just one little other one for horror game people. Click holding. No H. CLICKOL.
Clicker game.
DING. Yeah,
Click holding.
click holding. It's only on PC.
Something he wants you to watch you click it. All right. What would you turn me on to, Silken? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that one. Can you spell it again? I think I'm looking.
It's click holding without the H.
Yeah. Click holding without the H.
What is this?
I don't know what you just turned
It's
me
a
on.
horror indie game.
Clickleding. Just I'm worried people in the chat are like, what? I'm gonna
CLI.
Yeah, it's clearly a play on the word you think it is, but
Yeah.
Especially when you look at it written out.
like that.
Do not
Yeah.
type the wrong things in.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
under
sometimes you have
check
to
your
be
check
careful.
your spelling.
We learned a lot about Silkenit just now. Silkenit
like
actually
how-
found this game by accident.
No. I found that because
Hooray for typos.
no, I don't know because I listen to other podcasts. You're not the only one. Sorry.
We had a question in chat from Cygnus. Did you guys talk about the Digital Foundry video on why a majority of third-party games play better on PS5? I have not seen that video. Feel free to drop a link in there. I'll be glad to watch it later. I've noticed a trend that's been the case as an Xbox gamer. I feel like I see that often, but when I see it's like 2 frames difference, I don't care. When it's a big deal, I guess I'm sure it would bother me, but I did not see that video.
For me, it would depend if those 2 frames are from 60 to 58 or
Yeah,
65 to
I was going
63.
to say.
If it's over
really?
60, I don't care. If it
Right.
causes frame pace inconsistency, then I do care. Then
Okay, that's fair. That's good to know because I would not have
yeah,
registered that.
It's less to do with like, oh, the most powerful thing ever, and more to do with the way it looks. In that
Gotcha.
case, you know.
Gotcha. I will say that most of the time I do not enjoy 30 frames, but I can get over it. Like I got over it in Gotham Knights. Hellblade, I didn't even notice it. Sometimes I noticed it in Starfield, for sure, but I did not notice it in Hellblade.
I tried Starfield on Xbox after having played it on PC, and I'm like, yeah, this is a night and day difference at this point. But
It was
I
very
did try the 60 mode, and it was not even remotely close to stable 60 enough for me to use it. So I
Really?
just went back to PC. Yeah.
Really?
Like there's moments like when you're running around the planet, it seems fine. Then as soon as you get into like a town, it's
Mhm.
closer to like in the 40s. So it's really uneven frame pacing, and it kind of messes up the whole image, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Cygnus says its 2024 update is not about tools anymore. Devs saying the DirectX version of Xbox is way slower than the PS5 counterpart. Interesting. I hadn't seen that, but that's more by way of not being my type of approach to games, Cygnus, not as a console war type thing. So I do worry that Digital Foundry has done more harm than good in the enjoyment of video games, not intentionally so.
I still, it's usually the people that pick it up because they're just presenting data.
They're a tool. That's right. They're just a tool
Yeah.
that people
Yeah,
can
and
use
then
for the right
people
reason or
run
the
with
wrong
it.
reason. Yep.
Yeah.
People will run
'Cause,
with
like,
it.
I think PlayStation in the PS3 days, they learned a valuable lesson of we really should cater to devs because what was
That
it?
cell
Their
chip or
core
whatever.
architecture they made was
Cell.
so bad. The
Cell
cell
architecture,
yeah.
architecture was so bad. I mean, straight up, what was the game? It was Skyrim. The DLCs didn't even hit PlayStation right
Right.
away, and I know Xbox got it, but it was literally because of the cell architecture being such a
Yep.
pain in the butt.
Most Bethesda games ended up being totally broken on PS3.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They were the ones that after a certain amount of playtime, and they never figured out why, it would just run at like 1 frame a second.
Yeah,
Bethesda games are broken everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But it was. I think they learned that, and then PlayStation 4 was. You could tell it was a lot easier, and it seems like PS5 they've made it even easier. So
Yeah, they wisely switched to x86. It was way more consistent with PC and Xbox.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So those were Silkenit's extra games. Again, don't mistype. Did anybody else have a game they wanted to mention? that we haven't-
L-I, not a U.
just at the end of
Yeah,
August
need
into
some
the
indie.
beginning of September is gonna suck. Like
There's
there's
nothing
so
up,
many
man.
freaking
It's gonna
games
suck
in
for
the-
you.
in that
Insanely
two,
packed.
in the 2-week period.
It's gonna
It
be
is
rough for
this
you.
year.
We're gonna be eating big though.
It's
Mid-November
gonna suck
is-
if you got to pay for them too.
Yeah.
Mid-November
Yeah,
is
it's,
big too.
This fall winter is just massive, and we don't even have street exact dates for Avowed or Indie. It's just gonna be
Or Kingdom
don't
Come
even know.
Deliverance 2, the most important game
Yeah.
coming out this year.
Jeez,
Naturally.
I keep forgetting that game is coming out this year.
Yep.
Dragon Age, no date on
Yep,
that either.
Dragon
So it's
Age.
like,
I'm excited by Veilguard.
Yeah, that
Veilguard
game
was
looks really
fun.
good, actually. I'm pretty
Yeah,
hyped for that.
I'm excited for it. Me too.
I did not play the old Dragon Ages, but the art style actually I found very approachable, which I know some people were lamenting.
And I don't get it because I don't think it looks that different.
I think it looks fine.
It looks a lot like 2, so I don't know what everyone's.
I think it's the
I-
color
I-
palette.
A lot of people didn't play too.
Yeah,
with two sides. But
I think it's that
it was
people
rough.
also love to just complain about all kinds of things.
well, there's that.
Yeah.
I think a large part of it is people watch that awful reveal trailer and are going off of that. And it's like, it does not look like that. That is not what it looks like at all.
There are
that's
so
on
many
them.
games out there that just don't trailer well.
Yep.
That's on them to do a reveal trailer that they didn't show the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
a lot of
people were
games
guessing
during
those.
that SGF season had like deep dives after that were way better than the trailers. Indie, Dragon Age, like almost all of them.
It was almost like they thought Veilguard was a Fable game.
It did kind of get that. I thought it was at first.
I don't mean that as a knock. I mean that is like it's not the tone.
Right.
The trailer is like a Dungeons and Dragons movie trailer.
When they showed the gameplay thing, it was like real serious and dark.
Yeah,
and that reveal like trailer was like, yeah, exactly. I don't know what they were thinking with that.
The 2 Fable trailers we've gotten for the next Fable game, I'm like, oh yes, this is exactly what I want. This is the tone.
I was excited by Fable's showing. It actually made me more excited to find out what that game is. But I'll also say Hellblade made me more excited to play Fable because I did not understand the idea of how is that gameplay. I just didn't believe it. And then Hellblade kind of, I guess, showed me a different way to look at it.
I guess I'm still sitting on I want to see it get that South of Midnight. I was really hoping we would get that, like where South of Midnight, we actually saw the game in action. I really need to see Fable in action. Like I get that these are clips of gameplay, but there's only so much you can derive from that because you can do anything with a camera angle, even if something's gameplay or in engine.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I fall in. Is I was pretty disappointed in that reveal. It's time to see. I'm not disputing that it's in-game graphics. It is time to see how the game plays. It's no excuse that we didn't see that yet.
Yep. Yeah. If there is no HUD, it's not gameplay. That's
I'm expecting I love Playground, and I'm expecting them to have that guerrilla moment. Like is kind of where I was looking at it a long time ago. It was like, look, I want to see them go from something they're good at and expand how good they are at something. Because Horizon Guerrilla did Killzone, and that was what they were typecast. And then they did Horizon. So now I want to see Playground go from, oh man, you guys are incredible at building open world car games. Let's jump into this RPG. But yeah, we need to see the game. Like we need to see the game. I want to I want to see somebody kick a chicken. Like full gameplay.
That's what we're here for.
I want to see the character fart on command.
After the South by Midnight showcase, you make a good point because I was sold on South by Midnight thanks to seeing the gameplay.
Yep.
Yeah, that game looked great.
Yeah, that one caught me off guard for the most of my. I was interested about it just because it was like a stop motion type of thing, and that was about it. And then I saw gameplay, and I was like, I'm sold. Like I want to play this.
Compulsion did a really good job of We Happy Few, so I was not surprised at how good they made that game look. Like as far as the way it looks like it plays, like it looks clean, and that's how. Yeah, I wasn't. Obviously, it's a different kind of game, but yeah, I thought that was going to be good.
Yep. Nisa Hauer saying Forza is basically a CarPG. Yeah,
that is one of the funniest coin terms out there. CarPG.
I like
I said on Bitcast when they were talking about it a couple weeks ago, when you can race God, I'll call it a CarPG. But until then, it is not.
Oh my god.
Well, it would be a Square Enix CarPG.
Yeah, it would be a JDM CarPG. That's right.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm out of topics for myself, unless there's something that we haven't talked about that you guys wanted to talk about.
I'm good.
No, that was a big season for reveals.
Yeah,
and we still have Gamescom to come.
And and I don't mean that what insiders are saying, but Xbox held some stuff back.
Yeah, Xbox said that it's the biggest Gamescom stage they ever did.
Yeah. I think Gamescom is going to be wild for everything involved.
And also, I'm not saying it's going to be there, but everyone holding out hope for Call of Duty. Gamescom is much more the place where Call of Duty backwards compatibility. I mean, or Game Pass. I mean, Gamescom is much more the type of place where they announce something like that than their showcase.
Only thing I would say hold horses on when it comes to Call of Duty is because of a lot of the PlayStation agreements. I would not be surprised if Xbox is not locked out of some of those backwards compatible
There's
titles.
that, and also like
Like
everybody
Cold War
wants like
specifically.
old Call of Duties on Game Pass or something, but the deal is not even 1 year old. So give them time. It's not a click of a button to port these games.
Yeah,
Some
well,
of them
with
are so
Transformers and
old.
stuff, they're working
So
on all the
old.
licensing.
Yeah. Not even taking that into account, but just the technicality of it. Like some games don't even run on Windows 10 or 11.
We got a question from Cygnus in chat again, saying, "Do you guys feel like Avowed looks underwhelming for an Unreal Engine 5 game?" I think that's a fair question to ask, given the scope that Avowed was operating at, with its original old first reveal to kind of its new art design, and then the way that we're kind of seeing Obsidian go about showcasing Avowed. I think it's a fair question to ask, but I think it's more a matter of tone.
And I mean, UE5 is an engine,
Right.
and it's not a promise of a certain type of graphics or a certain quality. Like they may intentionally keep their art style and graphics as they are, but have better performance from the engine on console. It's so. Is it using the engine like at the top of what it can do? Maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. But it's just a tool. Like it's not a promise of any kind of quality.
That's my thought as well. Go ahead, Rick.
I was going to say, and also, it was me. I was also going to say the answer to that question also would depend on which showing are you referring to. Are you referring to the one at the beginning of this year? Because if you are, absolutely, that game looked pretty poor at that point. But I thought it looked markedly improved here when they showed it at the Xbox showcase.
On the deep dive.
Yes, thank you. The deep dive.
Yeah,
they didn't show it at the showcase, but the deep dive is specifically what I'm referring to. It looked like you look at that and it's like, okay, why did they really even bother showing it in that developer direct at the beginning of the year? Because all it did was create questions that it really didn't need to have asked about it, when clearly they were working on most of the issues that myself included had with it. The combat looked way better. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a visual stunner by any means, but it certainly looks serviceable, I think. And
it was like the Halo Infinite Craig thing.
Yeah,
like it popped up and then it had to be fixed.
Yep. I think a lot of people that are looking at it as like Xbox first party or PlayStation first party, or they're looking for that approach, they want it to be a certain caliber and their expectations are perhaps higher. To me, this looks like an Obsidian game with the scope of the Outer Worlds set in a fantasy world. And
which I think they confirmed that, right? It's pretty
they did. But that was the visual thought that I had once I saw the redesign, not the first teaser that looked very modern Skyrim, I guess, for like with the arrow and whatnot, which I kind of loved. But the more I see of Avowed, actually the more I'm sold on it now.
Same. Same.
I just think it's a matter of going in with proper expectations. If you go in, know what you're looking for, I think you're going to be happier. I think people made that mistake with Hellblade. People went in with expecting Girl of War was the term I heard recently. And make no mistake, I wanted it to be that. I wish it was that, because I just love the Hellblade combat. I love what Hellblade is and shows, and I wanted more of it. But it's not what they were trying to make. And I don't think with Avowed, they're trying to make modern Skyrim. They're trying to make their vision. And that's something we as gamers, consumers, make a decision on: purchase, play, time, whatever.
It's all about expectations. Like you said, you can't go in and expect to be playing Skyrim, because there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be very disappointed if they go into that game expecting that.
The moment they can't climb a mountain with a horse, it's done.
Well, so let me ask you this, because Logan was postulating something to me. As PlayStation gamers, we don't get, or we have not gotten a first party game in a long time, right? We got some incredible just hit after hit, and then we got the remake syndrome, sequelitis, but still great sequels. I would say Spider-Man 2 to me is amazing. Ragnarok is amazing. Like there's a lot of just fantastic stuff there. But now they've gone dry for a bit, and it sounds to me like they're either going to have end of this gen or early next gen. They're going to have their bangers back. With Xbox, they have now shrunk the scope after launching poorly with some of their bigger stuff. And so the cadence will be faster. Would you rather wait years for the top tier or have a better cadence of 8s or Avowed size games, Hellblade size games? I lean towards the Avowed Hellblades because I like new stuff, but I'm curious what you guys are on that front because I'll play whatever.
The only thing I'll say about Hellblade though is just like that took 7 years. Let's not act cadence wise like that was a good.
I think there's a little bit of
though.
asterisk with team size and COVID.
Yeah,
but
I think PlayStation's having their COVID right now, to be honest with you. Like, I think this is a combination of the live service bets that didn't work and COVID hitting them because they were further along. Like, Xbox was still integrating these studios at this point. And we all know that Xbox had their issues with different management problems. And like we could have I've had conversations on that. PlayStation didn't have those issues. So these games were able to survive COVID in the sense of getting these games out. And now that they've hit all of these things, and obviously you're dealing with scale issues and all that, PlayStation is really now hitting their COVID of we really don't have things now. Whereas Xbox just weathered that earlier because they were already still integrating everybody.
Gotcha.
But they've been able to also fix cadence because they have triple the studios that PlayStation has. So that obviously does help when it comes to that. But I do agree. I think games need to be slower or need to come out quicker. I need Obsidian to already be on New Vegas too. So get Avowed out. Let it be small. I don't need Skyrim from them. I need Fallout.
You're now guy on the bottom right. Just want you to know.
Hey, it was bottom left before.
Yeah, it was. Now you're guy on bottom right.
My answer to your question, Luke, is both. I think you need both. They have the teams to do what Dave just said, which is get them out quickly. They also need to have a team or two that's behind the scenes working on something to put out the AAA 10 out of 10 bangers because they need one. I mean, let's be honest, they need one because they're not there yet.
The system seller.
Exactly. And I don't think, with the amount of teams they have, I don't think it's unreasonable to say they need to have one of those. But because of all those teams, you can still absolutely put out games on a 2 to 3, 4 whatever year cycle while you have something in the burner that's 6, 7 years and it comes out and it's your system, your killer app. They really need to get that. And they have teams that are capable of it, so they need to get it moving.
Because PlayStation has like Concord and Astrobot. Those are just the smaller. Those are the Hellblade sized kind of smaller games, and that's the only things they've got this year.
Right.
So,
yeah, basically, pretty much what Rick said too is like they've got so many developers that you can take time and really put some time on a system seller and get it out there and still keep people interested in your ecosystem by pumping out 8s, 7s that are good for all people. And then also like Avowed, I am super excited for that one. So I know there's other people that are super excited for it, but it also might just reach 7 and 8 for a lot of people. But just keep people interested in the ecosystem. But you definitely have to they got to come out with something.
That's just the advantage to having 54 teams or whatever it is now. You can do both. You absolutely and obviously they have unlimited finances at the same time. So that's not a
have
problem
your
either.
cake and eat it too if you put in the money and the effort.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
I'm very worried about Concord. Not worried for me, but I just don't see any good outcome for them. I don't see it happening.
Yeah. I know the previews were decent, so that's
previews have been positive, but no, I agree. I think
even
if there's
with
much of a market for that.
Even with decent previews, I just don't think that game's got legs. I hope it does for developers' interest.
I look forward to trying it.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Good luck to them. No.
Yep. It's not easy to survive in the live service machine. I can't remember exactly what I had said a long time ago, but it was something that you have to stand out from the pack. You can't just be a part of the pack. You have to stand out from the pack to make it. Like Helldivers too managed to stand out from the pack. It's hard to expect that twice in 1 year.
Yep. Agreed. Well, guys, I think it's time for us to go ahead and close out. Let's start with guy on the bottom right. David Burdett, would you let people know where to find your content and what you got coming?
Yeah, you can go to gamingtrend.com to check out all the different things that I and my team work on. And then if you want to chat with me on the Twitters, I am at SplitEnd89. That is, I just love video games, man. I don't care where they are. I just want to play them.
Agreed. Good. Well said. Silkenit, aka the French one. Let people know where to find you, my friend.
Mostly on Discord, on the XEP Discord. You can find me there, or at Silkenit on Threads. Mostly, not really X now. I don't really touch it anymore.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Rick Davis.
Butch4969 everywhere. The XCP Discord, Twitter, PlayStation, Xbox, you name it. And I am also on Spreading the Nerd with that guy. I can't do it. That guy.
Middle guy. Or middle guy to me, anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, top middle guy.
Clint, you're up, my friend.
You can find me at Ryuketsu2043 on Threads, and also Spreading the Nerd on Threads. I'm over on X2, but not too much. Also in the XEP Discord a lot.
Yep.
Place to be.
It's the place to be. Yeah, if you guys are interested in joining our Discord, channel members or patrons, get access to that. We keep it paywalled specifically so that people don't come in rudely, to support Rick's point about free play.
Rick made his way in, but
yeah, that's fair. Every now and again, right? But it's a couple bucks a month, helps us out, helps us get cool new things like our background. Which shout out to Sean Labry, who's helping me out with that. I really like this background. I really thought it came together quite well. But feel free to support us on any of those platforms. And yeah, that's going to be it for us. All right, everyone, have a fantastic rest of your week. Take care.